Happy Halloween, everybody. Here are the 3 most ridiculous things that I've noticed about the Omen series. Satan is a sloppy, lazy, shitty mastermind. The whole point of Satan's plan in the Omen trilogy is to maneuver little Damien into a position of power without anyone catching wise. The trouble is that Satan leaves way too many clues lying around and way too many witnesses alive who can spill the secret. One of the witnesses to the birth of Damien in the first Omen picture is a Father Brennan. Now, supposedly, he was a former Satanist who did a Sammy the Bull and now wants to clue Damien's adoptive dad in on the whole Antichrist thing. Now, how is he still alive? Well, the movie tells us that the guy pasted crucifixes and pages of the Bible all over the walls and doors of his apartment to explain how he's able to avoid Satan's wrath. But we never see him in that apartment. Most of Brennan's screen time is spent hanging around outside looking hangdog. Why isn't Satan giving him the supernatural Jack Ruby treatment right there? Did Satan not listen to all the mobsters in hell who could have told him that 3 can keep a secret if 2 are dead? I guess not. Of course, you could argue that Satan allowed Brennan to spill the secret to Daddy Thorn because he wanted Thorn to freak out and head right down the path to getting smoked. But since Satan proves in the movie that he can kill anyone he wants, almost any time he wants, why doesn't he just have the creepy satanic nanny slit the parent's throat one night, or have the mesmerizing Rottweiler force them to set themselves on fire and be done with it? Satan's got all the advantages in this situation, so why is he making the scheme so complicated? And let's not even get started on Ygael's wall from Omen 2, which has images of Damien all the way through his life just sitting there for anyone to see. I mean, Satan had centuries to get rid of this thing, or burn the images off, or have one of his minions adjust the faces so they look like Joe Garagiola. I mean, what kept you, Satan? Couldn't break away from the Barnaby Jones marathon? And when Satan finally does get off his unholy ass to punch in and do his job, he still messes up because no one would believe his accidents are accidents. When poor Father Brennan gets it in the Omen, it isn't like he trips and falls down some stairs or slips on some soap in the tub. He gets killed like this. His death is so weird that it makes the papers, and the picture in the paper is what leads Damien's dad to think that maybe there was something to perforated priest's nonsensical ramblings. And this isn't just one death, it keeps happening in the Omen. Mrs. Thorne is thrown out of a high window. Jennings is beheaded by a sheet of glass. Joan Hart in Omen 2 is blinded and hit by a truck, and that unlucky doctor played by Meshack Taylor, he's bisected by a falling elevator cable. And this is just a partial list of people who try to tell the protagonist something about Damien or somehow get in his way and get zapped in spectacularly weird ways for their trouble. I mean, it does reveal Satan's penchant for Rube Goldbergian methods of termination, but it doesn't make much sense if the entire point of all this is to keep the conspiracy low profile. But Satan's in luck, because most of Damien's enemies are insanely stupid. Admittedly, the syndrome doesn't start out so bad. I can understand that Gregory Peck would want a shit ton of proof before he'd find it in himself to stab his adopted 5-year-old son to death in a church. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence and all that. Still, in Omen 2, William Holden's character pretty much knows what happened to his brother and apparently used a lot of his clout to cover up the details. Nevertheless, in spite of the bodies falling like a gentle rain all around him, it takes Holden forever to reach the conclusion that something might not be entirely straightforward about Damien. And then there's Omen 3, 7 Knives for 7 Brothers. Everything that's wrong with this movie can be summed up in one scene, where two of the movie's stabby priests take a shot at whacking Damien. Okay, boys, you know who Damien is, right? You know he's the Antichrist, he's got the wicked mojo going, yet still, you pull your daggers out and show them to him when you're 20 feet away from the guy. Are you out of your fucking minds? You should be killing him the way Tommy D killed Maury in Goodfellas. You should be like, yeah, hey, Damien bag of donuts, how you doing? Get over here. Haven't seen you in a long time, how you doing? Hey, let's go out and maybe chase some skirt, you know? Hey, look, who's that? Now you're fucking dead, you piece of shit. Hey, Tony, come over here. Let's take him to Sills and chop him up. Now, does that sound too easy for you? Well, guess how Damien does actually die. Spoiler alert, after 3 movies and dozens of insane, violent accidents, someone finally sneaks up behind His Satanic Majesty and stabs him in the back.
You bastard!
Done. Dead. Over. So, those are the 3 most ridiculous parts of the Omen series. What wasn't so ridiculous about it? Well, as is true of most religious stuff, the best part of the Omen was the music. Ave Satani, and happy Halloween. See you next time.